What's going on, guys? Figured I'd fire up the camera for a real quick update before I call it a night. I was able to go ahead and finish putting the top together for the CNC table. As I believe I mentioned in the last update or two, I did end up going with some 3/4 thick spacers instead of the 1/2 inch I had originally cut for and planned. And I'm glad I went with the thicker stock. It'll give me a little bit more to face off. I could probably use this as a spoil board and face it off at least 4 or 5 times before having to replace any of these sections if I'm careful with my programming and bit placement, cutter placement, things like that. So we'll see how that works out. I may also initially even just use an auxiliary spoil board to kind of go on top of this just to kind of play around with the machine at first and kind of learn the ins and outs of some things. But we are getting close, very close to starting some projects. There are a couple more things I do want to wrap up on this and kind of get buttoned up before I get too heavily involved in drawing up some CAM programs and making some projects with this. For one, I do only have one e-stop here, and it's not even really completely wired in yet. Right now it really only controls the cycle stop on Mach 3. I do want to expand that to shut off the spindle, possibly even do 1 or 2 other things if the e-stop is hit. So I've got to look into that. And speaking of the spindle, ultimately I do want to control that in Mach 3 instead of the little panel here, or at least have the option of either or. That I may hold off on. It's not an immediate priority, but something I do want to start working towards. I also want to make a touch plate or two for setting cutter heights, and I've got a couple ideas for that. And then I've also got to tidy up a few little cables and hoses, maybe add a few more brackets or zip ties, just to make sure there's nothing getting tangled or rubbed, that I don't want to. So, like I say, a couple things left to do, a little bit of housekeeping underneath the machine, as far as getting all my tools and parts put away. And like I say, then I'll hopefully be able to start working on some projects. And I can even start working on the cam for some other things I've got in mind, kind of in between coming out here and doing that. So that is pretty much where we're at now. I don't want to make this update too much longer than this. Really not much more to say than I've already gone over. So let's just leave it at that for now. And hopefully the next update video will be a quick or simple little project. I think I do want to do like a little bit of a Hello World engraving, just kind of an initial program to kind of quote unquote dedicate the machine, like a little Hello World with a date or something, or some kind of little phrase I'll draw up in Fusion. And maybe I'll make a quick video of that. But like I said, a couple other things to do first, and then we'll get to that, and I'll try to post that when the time comes. But I do appreciate you guys that are watching these and have been following along. I know this has been a long journey and a long time coming, and we are not quite all the way there yet, but we are getting closer by the day. So stay tuned, guys. I'll have more in the near future, hopefully, and we'll go from there. So we'll see you.